property is not liquid. It is not a current kind of asset. There is a difference between loan and debt. Even your professor might not be able to teach you this, but I have the time for you. There is a difference between loan and debt. Thank you very much for having me. I am Lekan Abioye. And what am I bringing on board this day? So many people have been reaching out to me, and it seems as if they are so confused about two things when it comes to assets, when it comes to wealth creation, when it comes to liability, even equity. And most of these words or terms, they seem ambiguous to a layman, to a whole lot of people. Even as I'm talking now, some of you looking at me or watching me, you are still confused because you don't know what an asset is or what are assets, and you don't know what are liabilities, not to even mention equity. And that is what I've come to demystify in this presentation. So I want you to take your time, sit back in this quiet mood and listen to me very, very well. So, what are assets? A lot of time we hear, assets. What are assets? Now, I will tell you this. Assets are resources. They are resources that are meant to enhance, to hand, to bring, to birth income generation. Meaning, assets have the capacity to make you to have income, to make you to make money, to make you to grow in your financial accumulation or in your riches. Anything that makes that happen is an asset. An asset can be tangible and they can also be intangible. It means that tangible assets are those assets that you can touch, you can feel, you can carry. For example, you can see a house, you can touch it, it's a property, it's an asset. A car is an asset. The machines in your factory, they are assets. The plant itself is an asset. The property, the land, they are assets. Those are tangible assets. We also know there are digital assets these days. People now build houses or real estate in the metaverse. I don't want to go to detail of that, but it has to do with digital. That is why we have digital currency now, Bitcoin and all of that. These are digital currency. These are digital assets. And let me tell you this also, your cash, your money that you have is an asset because you can use money to make money. You can use that money to buy assets, to buy property, to buy things that you want to use to engage in other activities for you to have other means of income or other sources of income. So that is what is called assets. So I've been able to let you know that we have assets that you can touch, you can feel, and you have assets that you cannot touch. For example, an intellectual property is an asset. Are you getting what I'm saying? Those are assets. They have that capacity as a resource to generate income. But I'm also going to shock you. And how do I mean? Do you know that assets can also appreciate in value, and asset also can depreciate in value? That is why some people does not talk about some things as being an asset. For example, do you know that equipment, they are assets? Yes, you know, you agree. But do you know that equipment get depreciate in value because of reason of use and because of wear and tear? For example, if a company has equipment that they use in producing water, a water factory, for example, and they've invested millions of naira in putting that equipment in place, it's an asset for the organization or for the factory. But over time, usage, there's going to be wear and tear. The value of that asset, which is that machine, can continue to go down. So it is not all assets that their value goes up. Are you getting what I'm saying? But why the asset is depreciating in value, it has created something that has brought income, that has brought money into that organization or into that system, with which the money can now be used again to replace that equipment. For example, do you know that a lot of people that talk about wealth creation, they don't look at your car as an asset, for example? Yeah, everybody used to say until date, is still value is correct. Asset is whatever thing that bring money into your pocket. True. So if you have your car, you are not using it for car hailing. You are not using it to pick people from one place to the other so that you can begin to make money every day. The only thing you do with your car is to take you to your office or to take you to the market and come back. Then you might likely say, oh, it's not an asset. No, it is an asset. The only thing is that it's not generating income into your pocket. But there are other things, value that is doing for you that makes you to also create wealth or to generate income. For example, when you take your vehicle to your workplace, you are supposed to get to your workplace at 8 o'clock and work 5 hours. Unlike when you don't have a car, you have to go through public transportation, and then instead of you getting to your workplace at 8 o'clock to work 5 hours, you are getting there 10 o'clock and you are working 2 or 3 hours. Then it means that the amount of money that you can make has reduced because you have wasted time. But when you get to that place on time, you could do your 5 hours and make your money. Then you know intrinsically that that vehicle that you have is actually an asset to you. The only thing is that over time, it can depreciate in value, but it's still an asset. And if you go and sell it, then you can get value for it. Are you getting what I'm saying? Now, don't let us also join those people that doesn't understand how asset and all these things works. Because you can buy a car at 2 million naira and use that car for 2 years. And when you want to sell the car, you can sell for 4 million naira. And anybody that hears you and say, hey, guy, you bought this vehicle for 2 million naira. You now sold it after 2 years, you have used it. You still sold it for 4 million naira. Wow, you have made money. The person does not understand finance and is a financially illiterate person. You know why I said that? Do you know that some people, for example, in Nigeria, in 2022, they have vehicles that is worth, for example, 2 million naira. And in 2024, the value of that same vehicle has gone to 6 million. It is only those who are not financially literate that would think that they have made money, they have made profit after even using it for 1 or 2 years. They have made money, they have made profit of about 4 million naira. No, they've not made profit of 4 million naira because why? The percentage of inflation, as at that time, 3 years ago, was so low compared to the rate of inflation today. The value of naira, for example, to dollar, 3 years ago was probably $1 to 420 naira. But this day, it is $1 to 1,600 naira. You can see the level of depreciation. So it means that 400,000 naira of 2 years ago is far, far more than 1.6 million naira of today. So when you put them side by side, for those who are financially smart, they have not made profit. It has actually depreciated in value. When it comes to value, I'm talking about real value. What are liabilities? Liabilities are those obligations that you are meant to fulfill. Those are liabilities. For example, a loan is a liability because you must fulfill the term of repayment. Debt is also a liability. There is a difference between loan and debt. Many people don't know, they mix it together. There is a difference between loan and debt. A loan is that money that you have borrowed to fulfill a purpose. A debt is your obligation to pay back what you have collected. You can see that they are different. For example, I can be obligated to a loan of $1 million. When I'm paying back that loan, I am obligated, I am indebted to pay back $1.1 million. You can see that there is a difference. Because interest has come upon the loan that I have received. It has become a debt on my repayment. So you know the difference now. I'm teaching you something. Yes. This I'm teaching you, you might not be able to get it from the pages of books, or even if you read it from books, you might not understand it. Even your professor might not be able to teach you this, but I have the time for you because I want to see a lot of transformation. I am passionate about how Africans, that we have too many common people in Africa who are wallowing in abject poverty. I want to be a part of those people that will school people, that will train people out of that situation, out of that quagmire, out of that disillusionment, and bring them into their place of liberty. So, cash payable is a liability because you must pay. Sales tax payable. This is money that you collected because a good was sold and you must pay the tax of it to the government. So it is a liability. Now, we have two types of liability. We have current liabilities and we have non-current liability. That means long-term liabilities and short-term liabilities. So your current liabilities are your short-term liabilities. These are liabilities that you are obligated to pay within a very short period of time. Between 1 day to 1 month to 1 week to 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. While the other one, which is non-current and is also the long-term liability, are those ones that are from 1 year and above. You know, there are some people that are obligated to paying a debt. For example, your mortgage is an example, is a clear example of your non-current liability. There are mortgages of 30 years, 35 years, 20 years, 15 years. We see that in the West a lot. From Canada to US to part of Europe to everywhere in advanced nations and some part of African nations. Some people, they spend 30 years or 35 years of their life to pay for a house that they live in. You can imagine that. That's a pure liability. It's not an asset, it's a liability because they pay on it every day. And somebody might say, but the price of the property appreciates in value. Yes, the price of the property it appreciates in value, but you cannot access it until when the obligation is fulfilled. And do you now say you want to go and sell it? Yes, if you choose to sell it, then you take it and then go and use the money again to buy another property that you start paying on. But that is not how a smart people who understand finance, who are financially literate think. That is not how they take decision. Because property is not liquid. It is not a current kind of asset. Property. If you buy a property today, I always counsel people that come to me for advice. If you buy property today, it will be very hard for you to be able to sell it next week or 1 month or 2 months. You can buy some property. I remember I bought some property 4 or 5 years ago. I wanted to sell within 6 months or 1 year. I could not sell it until the early part of last year. Why? Because property on its own, it is not current, it is not fluid, it is not liquid, it is fixed. And that's why a lot of people run into problem when they make some money and then they go and use that money to invest in property. They went and used it to buy land or to buy a property somewhere, and then the money, the source of that money coming their way ceased. Maybe they just did a business, a contract, and then they make some profit, and then they use the money to buy the property, or they start building. And at some point, they were thinking other businesses will bring, the business will continue and bring money, and then it ceases. Then it's no longer bringing anything. At that level, then you are stopped. You now discover that, yes, that property, you can't sell it. If you want to sell it, you might not even be able to sell it at the cost. Because you'll be like somebody that a dog is pursuing, and then you want to look for a way of escape. And that is why you need people to guide your decision when you have not gotten to that level of information-backed personality. You need advice. I still consult my mentors. Lekan Abioye, I still consult my mentors in some areas of investment and businesses, because the level with which your knowledge gets to, it is the beginning of some other people. Where your own intellect ends, that is where some people starts. You always have people ahead of you. So That is what a liability is. So asset is equal to liability plus equity. What is equity? Equity is what you own. When you merge liability and equity together, it gives you asset. So your own in that asset, when you remove the liability, your own inside of it is the equity. For example, I'll give you an example. I don't want to confuse you. I remember back in the days in secondary school, during our debate time, you will stand up and say, hello, Mr. Moderator, I'm so. I'm here to debate about so. And then I'm not here to confuse you, but I'm here to enlighten you. That's what I'm doing with you today. Equity is your portion in any asset. Let me give you an example. You want to buy a car. You went to a place to buy the vehicle, and they said, okay, the vehicle is 10 million. And you said, I'm only having 3 million with me here. I want to have a liability, a debt of 7 million. So they said, no problem. We have looked at the history of your bank and everything. I think over time, within 2 years, you can pay off when you pay at this particular amount, per month and everything. And then you are glad. And then at the end of the day, you bought that asset, a vehicle, which of course that asset at that point in time worth 10 million naira. But let me also warn you this, and you must know, the moment you buy a car and you drive it off the car lot, if you take it back there the following day, the value of that car, you cannot collect that particular amount again. It's not possible. The value goes down. Let me tell you that. This is a fact. It happens everywhere in the world. That's how it is. It's happening every day. So I'm just giving you warning. So at the end of the day, look at it. Your asset is 10 million naira, the car. But inside that your asset, your obligation to pay back is that 7 million, right? And then the equity, the one that you drop 3 million, is there, which is your own equity. So asset equals liability plus equity. So that equity is the one that belongs to you. Now, let me differentiate for you, for the purpose of this my presentation, the difference between an asset and a liability. An asset is what you own. That's number one. And a liability is what you owe. So there is owning in asset and there is owing in liability. That's very, very important. You must have that at the back of your mind every time you are trying to differentiate between an asset and a liability. Number two, depreciation. An asset can depreciate. I've given you earlier areas where your asset can actually depreciate. I'm not saying that it is all asset appreciate in value, but in the context of how asset is being defined in finance and business, assets are resources. It is not only a property or a motor or anything, because why? Money itself, cash, is an asset. And you know that money also depreciates in value. Do you get what I'm saying? Yes. Now, liability does not depreciate. It remains constant because these are obligations that you pay back. Are you with me? I've been able to differentiate for you what an asset, or what differentiates an asset from a liability. Now, what will you call the purpose of an asset? Asset has a lot of purposes, but the main purpose of an asset is to create wealth. And the main purpose of a liability also, for those who are financially literate, it is also meant to create wealth. It's going to be diagnosing these two things that I've said will only be for those who are on my mentorship program, where I'm going to diagnose for you how liabilities can make you to be richer. Yes, how it can make you to be richer. Because debt can actually make you to be richer. You must know the technicalities, what it involves. It is not for those who doesn't have the know-hows. If you enter into debt, it can make somebody to collapse. It can make everything to collapse. And we have seen how people use debt to build conglomerates, to create huge assets. These are what I want to discuss with you in this my presentation, because a lot of people, they have been bombarding me. Sir, help me. I don't even understand what an asset is. Somebody said it's something that brings money into your pocket. Somebody said it's this. And then somebody said, yes, asset appreciate in value. And then some people say it depreciates in value. And then I don't understand liabilities. I don't even understand equity and everything. I believe so strongly that in the last 10 minutes or thereabout, I've been able to push you into understanding these three words: assets, liability, and equity. And I've been able to differentiate it for you. And I've also been able to tell you what are the purposes and what are those things that are liabilities. Debt is a liability. Loan is a liability. Sales tax payable is a liability. Mortgage is a liability. So many things like that are liabilities. And I've also been able to tell you what are assets. I hope you are with me. Thank you very much for your time. I want to sincerely say thank you for following me. For those of you who have been reaching out to me through DMs, requesting for mentoring, requesting for special coaching, I'm actually bringing coaching your way, one-on-one coaching, group coaching, mentoring programs. They have been well defined. Consulting for individual, for group, advisory services, all these things have been prepared. But I really want to make a lot of things available, especially for those who doesn't have the money to pay me. That is the essence of me posting on YouTube channel. Go to Wealthcraft Co. on my YouTube channel and listen and watch this for free. You can make a jump even from this I'm talking to you about. People fly all the way from Abuja, from places, to come and meet me for these particular things that I've been discussing with you here. Follow me on Wealthcraft Co on TikTok. Join me on Facebook. My Facebook page is Dr. Lekan Abioye. You have a lot to gain. You have a lot to gain. I want us to form a movement of people who are committed to wealth creation. We can change the destiny of ourselves, of our family, of our community, of our nation, and of our continent. And I'm looking for those few thousands of people who tomorrow can stand as part of those people who created opportunities for others. And that is how we can build a great nation. Thank you very much for your time. And I believe that you have learned quite a bunch from this that I've discussed with you today. God bless you. I see you another time. Bye-bye.